Hello students, welcome to the third video lecture of electrostats, and we are at the chapter number 1, which is electric charges and fields. So let's proceed. Electric field. Electric field is a region of a space around a charge or a system of charges within which other charged particles experience electrostatic force or forces. It means if there is a region or a space which is available due to a charge or system of charge, in which if we bring any other charge or charge body, and that charge or charge body experiences the force due to that system or a system of charges, or we can say due to that charge, then that particular region or a space within which another charge body experiences the force is called as electric field. Theoretically, electric field extends up to infinity, but practically it is limited to a certain distance. So theoretically we can say that electric field has no definite endpoint, but practically we just limit the endpoint. We find a certain boundary or region or space in which the electric field is acting. Electric field strength or electric field intensity or electric field. So electric field, when it is understood in terms of a physical quantity, so it becomes electric field strength or electric field intensity. You have to remember, and I repeat it again, if you study electric field as a physical quantity, so you have to just convert the word in terms of electric field strength or electric field intensity. Let's see what it is. Electric field strength at a point in an electric field is the electrostatic force per unit positive charge or per unit test charge acting on a vanishingly small positive, it is written over here, vanishingly small positive test charge placed at that point. So the force per unit test charge experienced by that test charge placed in the electric field of a given charge, that measurement of force is called as electric field intensity or electric field strength. So let's have the diagrammatical representation. Let's have a positive charge plus q. This plus q works as a source charge, another plus q naught, another charge. This is a vanishingly small positive charge, and vanishingly small charge which does not disturb the field of this plus q charge is called as test charge, and it is placed at a distance r, suppose. Then it will experience a force of repulsion, being the positive charge. Test charge always assumed to be a positive charge. It has a constant assumption about the test charge that it is a positive in nature. So you can see electrostatic repulsion is there by the source charge on the test charge. If negative charge is there, so electrostatic attraction will be there by the source charge on the test charge. But remember, test charge will always be a positive charge. So you can see Q is the source charge, Q naught is the test charge, F is the force, and E is the electric field strength or electric field intensity. Now vector E, electric field intensity or electric field strength, is a vector quantity. So we represent the electric field strength as a formula, which is vector E is equal to limit delta Q tends to 0 vector F upon delta Q. Here limit delta Q tends to 0 shows that the test charge is a very small magnitude charge. That is written over there in the definition, vanishingly small charge. Or this can also be written as vector E is equal to vector F upon Q naught. Or it can also be written as vector E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square R cap, where R cap is the unit vector acting in the direction of electric field intensity or electric field strength. The test charge is considered to be vanishingly small because its presence should not alter the configuration of the charge or charges or system of charges, we can say, and thus the electric field which is intended to be measured. It means what? The test charge should have that small magnitude so that it does not disturb the electric field of the source charge. It itself, the test charge should not exert any force on the source charge. Otherwise, the force which is experienced by the test charge from the source charge, which is exerted from the source charge, will not be measured accurately. So it must be a vanishingly small magnitude charge. Next, so let's have some note points. Point number 1, since Q naught is taken positive, the direction of electric field is along the direction of electrostatic force. You could see in the previous formula, vector E was equal to vector F upon Q naught. So whatever be the direction of electrostatic force, same will be the direction of electric field intensity or electric field strength. Second point, electrostatic force on a negatively charged particle will be opposite to the direction of electric field. If negative charge particle is there, so electrostatic force will be opposite to the direction of electric field. Third point, electric field is a vector quantity whose magnitude and direction are uniquely determined at every point in the field. It means electric field intensity is defined and can be expressed at every point in the electric field region. It means it is not like that if point A is there which is lying in the electric field region, and there we can determine the electric field intensity. Another point B which is also lying in the electric field region, and we cannot determine the electric field intensity at that point B. So A, B, C, D, whatever be the points lying in the electric field region, at every point electric field is electric field intensity or electric field strength is determined. SI unit of electric field is Newton per Coulomb. As the formula was F upon Q naught, force is measured in Newton and the charge is measured in Coulomb, so Newton per Coulomb. Next, electric field due to a point charge. We got a formula. You could see in the previous slides that the formula was of electric field strength was also expressed as or we express the formula like 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square, or we can say vector E was expressed as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square r cap. So we are going to derive that formula in this particular topic. So let's see. Let's have the diagram. This is the Cartesian planes, or we can say xy, yz or xz planes are there. So let's consider a plus q, which is a source charge placed at the origin, a point P which is situated in a region x whose coordinate is x comma y comma z. Now the Q naught is placed, the test charge Q naught is placed at point P, and again I repeat, the coordinates are x comma y comma z. That's why it is situated in the space or in a region, because all three coordinates are given. The force will be a repulsive force which will be experienced by the test charge. You can see outward force from the source charge. The position vector of Q naught is vector r. So force exerted on Q naught by Q will be expressed as vector F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by r square r cap. So this is the vector form of Coulomb's law. So we have expressed that Coulombian force in vector form, or it can be written as vector F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by r cube vector r. It means r cap, the unit vector r cap can be written as vector r upon mod of vector r, or vector r upon r. So if we replace r cap with this formula vector r upon r, so we'll get the expression as vector F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by r cube and vector r. Electric field strength is expressed as vector E is equal to vector F upon Q naught. So we are going to use the formula vector form of Coulomb's law in this expression. So we can write vector E at position vector r 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r cube vector r, or it can also be written as vector E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square r cap. Now another diagrammatical representation we are going to have. Let's see. So we are going to draw the diagram between E and r square, and let's see the diagram. The graph will be, actually it's not diagram, it's a graph. The graph is between E and r square, electric field strength or electric field intensity and square of the distance, and the graph will be a curve like this, because you can see E is inversely proportional to r square. So this shape is also called as rectangular hyperbola. So the graph will be a rectangular hyperbola, okay, because as we increase the value of r square, or we can say distance square will be increased, so we find that electric field strength decreases. Why? Because they are inversely proportional to each other, or we can say electric field intensity or strength is inversely proportional to the distance square. So finally, the electric field due to a point charge has a spherical symmetry, and if q is greater than 0, then the field is radially outward, and if q is less than 0, the field is radially inward. The reason is what? If q is greater than 0, it means if the charge is positive, so it will be repelled. So it will repel the test charge, because test charge is already positive, so source charge will repel the test charge being positive, and being negative, in the case q is less than 0, the source charge will attract test charge, so the electric field is radially inward. So either radially outward, radially inward, if we choose the points which are equidistant from the source charge, and we join all of them, so we'll get a spherical region. So that's why the word is written over here. The electric field forms a spherical symmetry, or electric field due to a point charge has a spherical symmetry. Next, electric field in terms of coordinates can be given as vector E at the position vector r is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon x square plus y square plus z square to the power 3 by 2 bracket x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap. And now superposition principle, it means if multiple charges are available, so if the charges are more than 2 or more than 2 in number, so electrostatic force experienced by a charge due to other charges is the vector sum of the electrostatic forces due to these other charges, as if they are existing individually. So on a single charge, if multiple charges are exerting force, so net force experienced by the single charge will be the vector sum of individual forces exerted by the other charges. So plus q1 plus q2 plus minus q3 plus q4 minus q5, these are the charges available, and you can see force exerted on 1 by 3 will be in this direction, attraction, force of attraction. Force exerted on 1 by 2, you can see in this direction, you can see the direction because of the repulsion. Force exerted on 1 by 4, another repulsion. Why? Because both are positive. But force exerted on 1 by 5 will be in this direction because of the attraction. So if we find the vector sum, then that will be the resultant force, and you can see over here. So net force will be equal to the sum of individual forces, that is vector F1 is equal to vector F12 plus vector F13 plus vector F14 plus vector F15. and so on. If more than 5 charges are also more than 5 charges are available, so this expression will keep going on until the term 1n, as 1 2 1 3 1 4 1 5, so 1n dash dash dash. So this expression can be written in compact manner. It can be written as vector fa at the position vector r 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught qa qb vector ra minus vector rb divided by mod of vector ra minus vector rb whole cube, where sigma goes from 1 to n. So sigma qa qb, where b goes from 1 to n, you can see, and b is not equal to a. So you can see first charge we have assumed as a test charge, or we can say on which we are going to check out the forces which are exerted by all other charges. So you can see and we have taken that a is equal to 1 and b can be 2 to 5. So a is equal to 1, why? Because q1 is fixed. We are going to check the forces forces which are charges which are exerting forces on charge q1. So a will be fixed as 1, but b can be 2 to 5. If the force is to be found on second charge, then a will be equal to 2 and b can be 1 3 1 and 3 to 5. Next, let's have the note point. The interactions must be on the charge which is to be studied due to other charges. The charge on which the influence due to other charges is to be found is assumed to be floating charge and others are rigidly fixed, because the charge on which the forces are exerted or we can say that that particular test charge is under the influence of forces, so that's why it is considered as floating charge and others are rigidly fixed. For example, first charge floating, you could see in the last diagram, and is repelled away by q2 and q4 and attracted towards q3 and q5. The interactions between the other charges among themselves must be ignored. It means all other charges should not have any kind of interactions among themselves, so it has to be ignored. Superposition principle holds good for electric field also. Same thing happens in the electric field. Okay, and you can see that whatever the net electric field intensity, if you find at any point, then it will be the vector sum of electric field intensity due to the charges available in the region. Same thing will do in the electric superposition of charges in case of electric field intensity or electric field strength. So next topic we are going to introduce, we are going to have the introduction of it, that is electric lines of force. Let's see. An electric line of force is an imaginary straight or curved path along which a unit positive charge is supposed to move when free to do so in an electric field. It means if we trace the moment of a test charge which is under the influence of a source charge, so that tracing is actually gives an imaginary line which is considered as electric field line or electric lines of force. Both are same, either we call it electric field lines or we call it electric lines of force, both are same thing. Electric lines of force do not physically exist, but they represent real situations. So they are imaginary lines, so physically they do not appear anywhere, but they represent real situations. What situation is experienced by the given charge? So you can see the electric field line pattern or electric lines of forces pattern. It can be a straight line, direction can easily be determined, but if electric lines of force is curved, So direction will always be obtained by drawing the tangent at any point. So at any point, if we have to find the direction of electric field line or electric field intensity, sorry, if we have to find out the direction of electric field intensity at any point on the electric field line, so we just draw the tangent. If it is a curve, if it is a straight line, so every point the direction will remain same. So that's all for now. We have just introduced the electric lines of forces or electric field lines. You have to keep the definition and concept about the electric lines of force in your mind to understand the next video lecture. So we'll meet again in the next video lecture with more concepts about electric field lines or electric lines of forces. Till that time, keep on studying and keep on working hard. Thank you very much.